White Rocket Entertainment podcast number 964.
Holy crap, that's a lot of podcasts.
You like the little lion at the beginning of MGM. Get that roar in there. It's the White Rocket Music Podcast. I called it something else before, but I'm now just calling it the White Rocket Music Podcast because that's civil. Where we talk about the greatest bands, songs, and albums of the 1970s, 1980s, some from even before that, some from after that. Just all good music all the way around. I am your host, Van Allen Plexico, joined as always by my two co-hosts for this fine program, Connie Fix. I see you there.
Hello, how are you?
And Andy Fix. I see you have joined us as well.
I have.
All right. So we've done quite a few of these already, and we have a nice long list of topics still to come, and we're just making our way through them. And Andy, why don't you tell the folks if those that are watching on our live YouTube White Rocket channel will see it in the purple header, but what are we doing tonight?
We're doing each one of us is doing the 5 perfect albums, all killer, no filler, meaning albums that every song is you listen to. You don't skip any song on the whole album, which it was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
So not necessarily our 5 favorite albums. In fact, it may be that none of the 5 we're going to list would even be in our top 20. Who knows?
Right.
But they have that one thing in common. You don't ever fast forward past a track. All right. All right. So you said it was tough. Connie, how hard was it to pick your 5?
It was very difficult. My battle was with one band. They have a couple of different albums that, to me, just can't pass one up. Even the ones I'm not familiar with because they were back in the early 70s. There's a hint. And I was very young. The songs that I listened to, I know what's coming up next after that song. So it's one of those that you listen to on a loop so much that you don't know the titles.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
I have a couple of those.
Absolutely. So before we get going, as we always do on all of our podcasts, Andy, is there any music news, as MTV used to say?
Well, other than the fact that MTV is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Connie and I were at a New Year's Eve at a bar for a New Year's Eve party, and we were watching TV, and they had MTV playing on one of the TVs up, or one of the screens above the band that was playing. You couldn't hear what was going on, but you could watch what videos they were playing. And right around midnight, they played Video Killed the Music Star. Video Killed the Radio Star. And I'm like, oh, look, Connie, that's the very first song MTV ever played. And sure enough, that was actually on MTV, and that was the actual sign-off video from MTV. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, the very last one. So it was surreal. It was like a big piece of our childhood just dying and going away. I mean, it was really surreal.
And I watched MTV. I was told by my parents about it. Before it became a bad influence.
Oh, yeah.
But, and I was no longer allowed to watch it. But no, us kids, we all snuck around and watched it. But watching that, I'm like, this is full circle. And it was heartbreaking. They haven't played real music videos in, forever, but that is my childhood. Coming home after school, the first thing I wanted to do, especially in 1983, because every hour at the top of the hour, guaranteed, Thriller by Michael Jackson was going to play.
That's right. It sure
every
did.
time. You watch that rocket go up, and it tells you what songs are coming up this hour. And it was always Michael Jackson every 4 hours.
Because they knew that's what the people wanted to see. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah, I would go over to my girlfriend's house, and we had a bunch of friends who would always be over there, and we would get Domino's pizza or something and turn on MTV and just watch music videos all the time. And it's funny you mentioned it. There's 2 things I got about this, Andy, real quick, since you mentioned it. One is I'm currently reading I Want My MTV, the book about MTV, and it's really interesting. Just tons of interviews and great stuff in there. It's very similar to the book about Saturday Night Live that Tom Shales did a few years ago, where they interviewed everybody and have all these cool anecdotes and all.
Yep.
And what I've really gotten out of the first few chapters of it is how it was such a revolutionary idea. We saw it come on TV and we were watching videos, and you had Friday night videos when NBC tried to compete with it for a couple of hours every Friday night, you know,
Right.
or in my case, I didn't have cable, so I would watch Friday night videos just to be able to watch any. And I mean, it lets you kind of keep up with the zeitgeist of what people were watching. Another thing they were pointing out is it was the first real national radio station. Said that before MTV, different bands broke in different cities, and something might be popular in one city but not in another. MTV is when the whole country knew these acts and knew their music at the same time. And there's just dozens of artists in that book that say, one week I'd walk down the street and nobody gave me a second look, never heard of me. The next week, everybody's like, you're so-and-so, you're so, because they said, because my video played on MTV.
Right.
It changed the culture completely. It's amazing.
It changed music completely. I mean, it changed the sound of music, because if you made a great video, then it was popular and your song was popular, and it changed the way people made their music.
And I will say, in 1986, Beechcroft High School in Columbus, Ohio, I was on MTV. We had one of us, we videotaped. Now I'm going to try to remember the name of the song, but Madonna said, "Make my video." Who's that girl?
Yeah.
I think it was Who's That Girl? No. Oh God, no, I can't remember. But it was Madonna's challenge was to make my video. And we made a video. We got played at like 4 o'clock in the morning because their vow to the public.
Uh-oh.
You send it in. We're going to play the video. And we got to see it. 4 o'clock in the morning, I was up watching. I just happened to be up, and I saw myself sitting on the bleachers at Beechcroft High School making the video.
That's so cool. It's like, yeah, it is. It's true. The other thing that's really funny I've taken from that book is that while its cultural impact was so huge and these people became big stars, it talks about how the music videos themselves were just these little throwaway cheap things that the labels did. And they would bring in, like, you know, anybody they could find off the street to make them with just crazy, esoteric, surreal ideas. And that's why, you know, so many of the videos you watch them and go, how many drugs were they taking when they made this? You know? But it was just, they were grabbing that. Some of them actually, like Russell Mulcahy was doing music videos before he started making movies and stuff.
Oh, Zack Snyder started making music videos before he became
it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the appearance of the band members before videos came out, it was all more, I would say, about the music. And then as videos came out and faces started coming out with, you know, the videos matching up with, you had to look a certain way. So you can't be the Atlantic Rhythm section today.
Oh, yeah. I always call the 70s the decade when even ugly people could make music.
That's funny. Well, and the other thing I took away, there's a video I saw, ironically enough, about MTV's rise and fall. And it was saying that everybody says what killed them was stopping playing music videos. But it says in reality, showing music videos had them at such a certain level of success. And when the channel really took off was when it created reality TV. Mm-hmm. And said the heyday of MTV was like the early 90s when they were doing all those reality shows that I hated and never watched. Yeah, I didn't have any interest in that. I wasn't watching those at all. But that's when all these people started watching. They said that the absolute zenith of MTV was Jersey Shore.
Yep.
That was as high as they got. And it said they started showing the stuff that got the highest ratings. And so those shows got more and more time, and music videos got less and less time. And next thing you know, it's just the reality show channel.
Yep.
Which was sad. But that's because I think they traded that immediate reward for the more important cultural impact that they weren't measuring, discounting ratings.
I think a lot of channels have followed those footprints too. It's not just the music; it's you know,
you're right.
You would think a quality channel on Discovery or you know A&E or whatever. Now it's a lot of the same things. Right. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. I don't watch any of it. Only exception is I watch The Traders because it's basically a big game show. But other than that, you know, and I like game shows. All right, let's get into it then. So what we're going to do is we're going to take turns. We always start with Connie, and we're going to go around in a circle, then Andy, and then me. and one album at a time. But if you've got any honorable mentions or ones that just didn't quite make your list that you want to throw out, let's just go ahead and get those out of the way first. So, Connie, what do you, if any, do you have any honorable mentions or albums that didn't quite make your list?
Yeah. So one made my list. One of their songs, one of their albums made my list, but the others were questionable. The self-titled Heart and Dog and Butterfly. I battled with those two, but do you want me to name the one that won?
No. Leave it off. That's okay.
Okay.
Those are the two that you did not include.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I feel it. I feel you. Andy, which ones made your honorable mentions?
I have, I didn't even think to write these down, but let me see off the top of my head. I know Sinead O'Connor, The Lion and the Cobra, her debut album from 1988. I can listen to that album from beginning to end over and over again, and very few people know about it because none of the songs made it big. It wasn't until her next album that she became a superstar. So that was one of them that just barely missed. I wanted to put a Beatles album on there, but I couldn't find a single Beatles album that I loved every single song on.
There you go.
Because the Beatles were they had every album had that one song that was like a WTF song. Some albums had a lot of those, but so I was surprised I didn't have any Beatles on there. And the other one that I would have put on there, but I know you're going to have it on your list, so I didn't put it on there. I'll let you know what. I'm sure you know what album that is, but I'll let you know when you say it, which one it was.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, I had to go through. I'll just tell my methodology real quick. I went through every album that I have in iTunes and Apple Music. I went through every one of them. Took me a while, including the CDs I've copied over and the ones I've gone out and gotten. And I thought about each one. And if there was a single song that gave me an instant's pause, if I was like, well, I'm like, nope, that one's out. And so when I threw all those out, I was left with 7. Okay,
oh, wow.
So I had to pick 5, and 2 didn't make the cut, but they qualified. They were all killer, no filler also. They were just 6th and 7th on the list of all.
Right.
Killer, okay. Right. So what you just mentioned that the Beatles didn't make it, for example. I'm going to do this. Here is my quick list of the bands I love that do not have an album on my list. All right. Which proves it's not favorite album. It's all killer. Okay. There is no Led Zeppelin because, like the Beatles, there's always that one song, right? There's no Def Leppard. There's no Journey. There's no U2. There's no Pink Floyd. There's no Rush, because Rush always has something weird.
Right.
And there's no Police, because there's always a weird Stuart Copeland song on the Police album. So, I mean, those are like my top 8 bands, and none of them are on here. It blew my mind.
I'm shocked. Def Leppard was the one album that I thought for sure you'd have, because it's like a greatest hits album of Def Leppard. But now I'm going to have to rejigger my list here.
Well, I mean, I guess High and Dry and Pyromania come the closest, because there's a couple of ballad type things on Hysteria. Hysteria is like Grand Slam, Grand Slam, Grand Slam, kind of a single Grand Slam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's that like run. What is it? Don't Shoot Shotgun. No.
Oh yeah.
That's not gonna make it.
I love that song.
No. Run Riot. No.
Okay. No. Well, Hysteria is on my honorable mention list then.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, so my 2 honorable mentions, these actually qualified but finished 6th and 7th. I didn't number my top 5 because I just couldn't.
Right.
But here are my 6th and 7th. The Corrs, Forgiven Not Forgotten. Every song beautiful, love it. I'm waiting for them to come to the United States. They have been touring all over the world for the last 2 years and just have not crossed the Atlantic Ocean yet. And they've been in Singapore. They've been in Vietnam. They've been all over Ireland and England. Well, anyway.
Do you blame them?
No. My other one, Men at Work, Business as Usual.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. God. Yeah. Yep.
Such a great album. Every song is great, but.
And that is my childhood right there.
You know what, Van? It's a mistake that you did not include that on your list.
Oh, Lord.
He's here all week.
Well, Yeah. Who can it be now that did that? I think it was me. All right, let's get started. Connie, what is your first? You can do in whatever order you want. If you rated them 1 through 5, or you just want to go random, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I'm getting nauseous because I don't want to. And now I have 2 more albums that popped in my head that what's wrong with me that I didn't have these 2 on there originally. Now when I have 2 throwaways that okay.
Well, I have your album art, so pick something from your.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I will say the next order would be Heart's Bad Animals.
Where is it?
There it is. Just takes a second.
Every song is amazing exclamation point. And I can go for a decade and not hear those songs, and I have muscle memory stuck in my throat somewhere because I know every word to every one of their songs.
I started listing the track listing off for Connie, and I got to the 3rd song, and then she just started singing every song after that.
I've seen them in concert. I have seen them in concert. They're beyond musical geniuses. They've paved the way. You know, we have a thing here in Cincinnati called Women of Rock. And they get mentioned every time because, you know, we have a tribute band to them here.
A heart tribute band, yeah.
This album was high school, junior high and high school for me, and it's what made me start singing. I'll be honest with you. This album got me wailing and screaming.
I call them the female Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, definitely. And I was shocked when we were talking about it that this album didn't come out till 1987. You think of Heart, you think of their whole history of music. 87. 1987. Yep, 1987. You think of their whole history, and it wasn't until almost 1990 that this song came out. And it is a banger. Every single song on there is awesome.
What's a song on there I would know from like MTV or the radio or whatever?
See, I know all of them. So you should know all of them.
But I mean, was there like a big radio hit or something? Top 10 hit?
They had 4 singles off that album. I don't remember which ones were singles, but all of them were hits.
I mean, I see, because I remember the Heart album I remember in the 80s was These Dreams Go On As I Close My Eyes. That's that one, right? And what about So, but this is not that album?
I don't think These Dreams was on that album. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, that's the Heart album that I remember the most from back then. So.
Connie's got you got the list right in front of you, Connie?
No, I don't have the list in front of me. I've got just like the greatest hits.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Which is kind of weird.
All right. Well, in the meantime, Andy,
I'm hearing songs in my head. As soon as I get to the chorus, I can tell you the name of the title of the song.
You look it up on your phone, and then I'll go next while you're looking that up. All right.
What is your first one?
My first album is 1976, Boston's debut album. Every single song in there is just banger after banger after banger. I mean, it starts out strong with More Than a Feeling. The only song that it slows down, they pump the brakes a little bit with the very last song was Let Me Take You Home Tonight. But even that one is perfectly listenable. Yeah. They're all just fabulous songs. So that's my very first one, my very first every single song. It is one of my favorite albums, so I'm not going to lie there. I do love that album because every song is so darn good. It's like a greatest hits of the 70s, arena rock.
I would have included it too. It could be in my top 10 of this topic for sure. Yeah.
So I think that there's 2 songs that you would definitely know. The first one is Alone.
Yes.
Okay.
I know that.
And Who Will You Run To?
Okay. Gotcha.
There's The Girl I Want You So Bad. Wait for an Answer. Oh my goodness. Bad Animals itself is great. Okay. Strange Easy Target, RSVP. I tell you, if you listen to this album 3 times all the way through, it'll be like listening to a brand new album. Every time I hear it, I always hear something new. So this is definitely one that I would recommend if you want to blast from the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the one that I'm sure people that have listened to our show in the past would expect me to go with. Scream of vengeance. I had my 2-year just solid immersion in Judas Priest. 2020 2023 and 2024. I just did nothing but listen to Judas Priest. I was in like their top 1% of worldwide listeners in 2024, which was like both very cool and terrifying to me to find that out at the end of the year on Apple Music. Okay. So last year I didn't really listen to them. 2025, I listened to two other groups that we'll talk about later. But yeah, so this album is one that I'd known about my whole life, basically, since it came out in 1982 when I was in high school. And I mean, when I really got into listening to it rather than just, oh yeah, it's the one that's got, see, when I listened to it in high school, I'd be like, oh, it's the one that's got, you got another thing coming. So I'd play that. And then I'd go play something else. But when I actually started listening to them, I went and listened to the entire album all the way through and realized, holy cow, you got another thing coming might be the weakest song on this album. I mean, it was their radio hit again, but it's so good. And it's so varied. I mean, one of the things about them that always blows my mind is how they have a very consistent sound, and yet they can do so many different things with it. Right. Some bands can only sound the same every song. You know what I mean? But they sound like a completely different band almost every song on this. And it's really remarkable. So, yeah, not a song I would skip on this album. And it does happen to also be one of my favorites. All right. Back to Connie for number 2.
All right. I'm getting to the point where I'm really stuck. So I'm going to say probably an album that everyone's going to go, yeah, that's the obvious. But I'm going to say Thriller by Michael Jackson.
I'm going to say, I bet I know what it is when you say that.
Yeah.
It's the
Thriller. I mean, I remember it was 25 million sold and he was number 1 record. I can't imagine how many he has sold up to this point. Probably doubled that.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Connie, what would be a song that you don't think anybody would know that you love on that album?
Because I mean, are there any songs on that album that weren't big hits?
Yeah, there was a really slow one.
There's a couple. That's crazy.
Yeah, because when you think of Michael Jackson, almost every song you think of is going to be off of that album. I mean, it's just crazy.
Well, I remember Billie Jean and Beat It first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lady in My Life. It's not a huge one, but Human Nature was on the radio, but a lot of people don't really know.
Yeah.
That one.
Oh, I thought that came from Bad. I didn't know that was a Thriller album or a Thriller. Yeah.
Cool. Want to Be Starting Something. I think that's a very popular one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that Want to Be Starting Something just has a groove.
Yeah.
That is absolutely infectious.
Right. Well, he brought a lot of he was still, I don't want to say disco, but he had a lot of disco sound to some of his songs.
Off the Wall, the album Off the Wall from 1979. Yeah.
Oh, that was totally disco. Yeah. But I'm talking about some of the songs on Thriller still have that disco vibe to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was actually incredible. I'm not really a Michael Jackson fan at all, and I'll sit here and say this is an incredible album and absolutely deserves everything it ever got. There's no question about it.
Well, this is one of, the Thriller video is the video that made MTV, and the MTV video of Thriller made Michael Jackson's Thriller album. I mean, they went hand in hand. They were.
That's what woke me up. That's where I started being a fan of Michael Jackson.
That's so funny because I was listening to Beat It. I think mainly because Eddie Van Halen was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what got me in. I liked that video. It was him with all the gang members doing the dance, and they were real gang members. They just didn't fight while they filmed it because he was Michael Jackson, and they're like, "We're doing a Michael Jackson video. We're not going to have a gang war," So they were real. They were not.
I did not know that. That's hilarious.
Oh no,
and terrifying.
Real gang.
Yeah. My favorite story about it though is that he went to Eddie Van Halen and said, "Would you do the guitar solo for me?" And Eddie asked David Lee Roth what he thought, and David Lee Roth, being David Lee Roth, said, "Nah, don't do it, man. Nah, you don't need to do all that. You don't need to do work for him for free or whatever." And so Eddie went behind David Lee Roth's back and did it, which really ticked off David Lee Roth. And then Eddie sat down with the track and said, well, we can make this better. And Eddie actually went through and re-engineered the whole song after it was done and made it better. And then when Michael Jackson said, well, how much should we pay you? Eddie's like, oh, just give me a case of beer. And so Eddie got a case of beer to basically make Beat It.
That's crazy.
What do you give someone that's already a multi-gajillionaire? What do you give them?
Right.
A thank you card and a case of beer.
The funniest thing about, I think, of that Thriller or of that Beat It video is all the pool tables have no pockets.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know.
I have no idea. If you watch the video, that all the pool tables are just flat green felt. There's no pockets at all.
I've got to watch this.
Oh, crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So that was Connie's number 2 on the list. So let me get rid of the last ones. So, all right. So Andy, what is your number 2?
You know, Van, I got to tell you that those album covers aren't showing up on not on my screen anyway. Connie, do you?
I see Michael Jackson. I see Thriller.
That's just me then.
Sounds like an Andy problem, Andy.
It is. All right. My number 2, and these are in no particular order. Actually, they are in order. They're in order of release date. That's what I have in. So my second album is Fleetwood Mac's Rumors from 1977. You know, I remember being, loving Fleetwood Mac music back in the 70s and early 80s. And when I went back, Connie and I actually saw a Fleetwood Mac tribute band a couple of summers ago. And all the songs they were playing, I'm like, oh yeah, I love that song. Oh yeah, I love that song. And then I look it up on my phone. I'm like, holy crap, they're all from the same album. So I listened to Rumors, and because that's all they're off of. Everybody knows, Don't Stop, Go Your Own Way, The Chain, You Make Love Fun, Gold Dust Woman. But when you actually listen to Rumors, all those songs are really good, and they're all they all have that same Fleetwood Mac flavor to it. I mean, Fleetwood Mac, they were amazing in the 70s. It's like they totally skipped the whole psychedelic era of the 60s, and they were just playing old school rock and roll. And it is not just their greatest album; it is one of the greatest albums of all time. And the reason for that is because every single song is really good. The epitome of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. Well, and they're beloved. I know there's no doubt about that. All right. So that was your number 2, Andy. My second one, again, in no particular order, is going to be, I went kind of with the heavy metal on the first one. So this time I'm going to go with one that the album, when it opens up, it sounds like somebody's dropping heavy metal on the floor of the recording studio. And that would be 90125. Bang, 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 bang. This album just captures such a unique. I've killed Connie. Oh, great! Such a unique sound. It sounds, and I love how the very first music video that I saw for it anyway was for "Owner of a Lonely Heart." Shows like the sheet metal saw is cutting. Because that's what they make the guitar sound like almost, but in a good way, if that makes any sense. So, but this album, every song on it is great. The instrumental on it won a Grammy for best instrumental for cinema.
Yeah.
And Leave It famously had 19 different versions of the music video. And that doesn't even count the fact that they did an a cappella version. That may have been the 19. I think there were 18 versions of it, and then they did an a cappella version on the 12-inch single of Leave It, which is probably my least favorite song in the entire album, and it's great. There's just nothing bad on 90. I always want to call it 90210, but that's a whole other thing. 90125, and I believe the 90125 is just it was just its album catalog number with the label Atlantic or Atco or whoever it was, right? So they just took that number. So my question for you, Van, is have you listened to any other Yes album, and how do you compare that to the other Yes albums? Yeah, I know that I don't know I'm not a super geek for Yes, but I do know, like I have Union, where their older lineup and their newer lineups kind of got together and made an album that sounds kind of like this.
Right.
And I like it a lot. I don't like it as much as 90125, but I like it a lot. I know that prior to this, they had more of that prog rock, like Roundabout,
Yep.
that kind of thing, you know?
Yep.
And I don't like that nearly as much. I like the sound that Trevor Horn, Trevor Rabin, and the whole crowd put together for this one album. It's like they caught lightning in a bottle one time, and then they weren't getting along and everything.
Yes is one of those bands that completely changed their sound for the 80s, for MTV, basically, for the 80s. Because that album is a great album, but it's completely different from the Yes that came before then.
Right. That was always the impression I got. So.
Right.
All right. So that was my second one. Connie, what's your third one?
Now, this is where I want to cry. So I have a number one. Okay. I have a number one, but my second place is I'm battling because both have mean so much to me. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and go with, I'm changing my order. Okay. It was going to be, who it was going to be, Andy. But I've changed it. There's a band called Live. Very popular in the 90s, early mid 90s. They have an album called Throwing Copper. It's an alternative.
You get the show.
I've changed it up on you. I'm sorry, Van. I've changed it up on you. But I had to. It's called Throwing Copper. It's a very weird looking album cover. And every song, some of the songs were so impactful I couldn't even listen to them without going, just bawling my eyes out. Now I can get through all of them. And even that album was a battle for me because their album before that called Mental Jewelry is also fantastic. And the one after called Secret Samadhi is also fantastic. Live is my all-time favorite band that I've seen probably 11,000 times. Okay. A 90s alternative band. I couldn't not put them on my list. So I had to ixnay the other one that I had on there at the last minute. I couldn't.
Fair enough.
So what was the big one off that album? What was the big song off that album? Was that Thunder or Lightning Crashes?
Lightning Crashes.
Yeah. I bought that. I bought that cassette entirely for that one song. And I don't remember any other song off that album, but I listened to the crap out of that cassette just for that one song.
I didn't know anything about them. I'd never heard of them. I still don't even, if you played the song, I wouldn't know what band it was. All I know is when their first album, I guess it was that one, came out.
Mental Jewelry.
Okay. And it said on the CD, I remember picking the CD up and it said Live. And I kept turning it over
to see what band it was.
What the band was. And I couldn't find the name of the band. And so I just put it back.
Ed Kowalczyk is the lead singer of this band. He his voice is powerful.
Yeah,
the lyrics are incredible. I highly recommend Van. The 3 albums are awesome. All 3 of them that I know are awesome.
I was just happy that somebody had done a live album. I just wanted to know who it was.
Connie and I went to see these guys live just a couple years ago, and I only knew that one song. That's all I knew. And I would have been happy if they would have played Lightning Crashes 12 times, and I would have been like, all right, that was a great concert. But no, they played all their songs, and I didn't know a single one, and I loved every one of them. It was just a great, fantastic concert.
Nice. All right. So a unexpected last moment substitution for number 3 from Connie.
That's called Connie called an audible.
An audible.
I respect that. I respect the heck out of that. Andy, what is your number 3?
Well, I have to say that I'm upset now because I know that the album Connie dropped is probably Rick Springfield's Living in Oz, and I'm very sad because that is a fantastic album.
It is. Sorry, Rick. No offense.
Oh, hold on. Since you mention it,
I've seen him also 1,100 times.
Since I happen to have it, I might as well throw it up there real quick. There we go. All right, what's your number 3, Andy?
My number 3 is Peter Gabriel's "So" from 1986. I saw Peter Gabriel live for the first time to support this album. I knew a couple of his songs from before this, from the 70s. Because he was really weird I mean, I knew his really weird Genesis stuff, the Lamb Lays Down on Broadway, and I knew a couple of his other really weird songs. And everybody knows Salisbury Hill. This was the first album that I went to see him live. And again, he changed his sound for the 80s. There's still a couple songs on here that harken back to the weird era, but every song on here is just so emotional and so powerful. I was stunned at that concert. I saw the concert with my cousin Mary Kivy in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'll never forget, for Summerfest. It was live in an amphitheater right on the riverfront. It was just a magical, beautiful night, and the music was just astounding. But I mean, everybody knows Sledgehammer, Don't Give Up. You have Big Time, and of course, In Your Eyes, which is the greatest love ballad ever recorded. But there's also songs on there that most people have never even heard of before. Mercy Street is a fantastic song. This is the Picture, which is one of those really weird Peter Gabriel. There's two of them on here. There's We Do What We're Told, and This Is the Picture, which are really weird, freaky, early Peter Gabriel songs that nobody's ever heard, but I absolutely love. And this is another album. I back in the 80s, I owned this album 3 times because I'd listen to the cassette and it would just wear out, and I would buy it again and again. So this is my number one all-time favorite album. He's my number one all-time favorite performer, and every song on here is Hall of Fame worthy in my mind.
All right, let me quickly say, this and the Phil Collins stuff are good examples of albums I never felt the need to buy because they were always on MTV. I didn't need to play it in the car. It would be on MTV when I turned it on. And this is an example, along with Dire Straits, of 2 acts that absolutely MTV made them, right? Because I'd never heard of Dire Straits before. That. And that was that video with the CGI with the 2 guys in the warehouse, right?
Yep.
And this one with the stop motion animation, the trains, the hammers, all that stuff. I mean, must have taken 2 months to film those music videos. This the Sledgehammer, and what was the other one that they did? It was very similar.
Big Time.
Yeah. Those, I mean, again, I don't even know if I ever heard them on the radio, but they were on MTV every hour on the hour for a year, it seemed like.
Do yourself a favor and download the song on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, and just listen to it from beginning to end. It's not a long album. There's only 10 songs on there.
The whole album.
But
okay.
Yeah, the whole album. It's phenomenal.
Okay. All right. So that was Andy's number 3, right?
Yep.
So my number 3, I have to push the right buttons here. My number 3, I'm going to go to the heavy metal again, because this is just, I love Queensryche, and I love all of their albums from the beginning up through about through Empire, really, in 91 with Silent Lucidity. But there's only one Queensryche album that I love every song, and it's just, you can put it on and never turn it off and never skip a song. There's only one, and that is their first real studio album, The Warning. This, I mean, it's not as polished and slick and MTV ready as Empire. It's not the Pink Floyd's The Wall of heavy metal like
Operation
Mindcrime. And my gateway drug to Queensryche was Rage for Order, which is like a mini rock opera. Rage for Order is incredible, but even it's got like a song or two on it that's kind of like, let's just skip on ahead. This, The Warning, is just phenomenal. Every song has a different flavor, but they're all just 10 out of 10. Everyone, and I think it's also their most underrated album, because everybody looks at their later stuff that was on MTV and all, but this one, which was before that, this is from probably 83 or 82 or something, I would guess, maybe even before that. In fact, what's funny is I was listening to Rage for Order so much that a friend of mine that was actually a heavy metal guitarist in a band got this on cassette. I didn't even know it existed. He looked at me and says, "You like that Queensryche stuff, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, here, you can have this." And he gave me The Warning. I'm like, "Oh, if it must be bad if he's giving it away." And I put it in the car, and I was driving around. I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever." So it just shows you how people's tastes, even people that like the same kind of music, your taste can be different. But Queensryche's The Warning is just a fantastic. And again, this was their first full length. They did Queen of the Reich, which was like an EP. and then this was their first full studio album. So
My
All right.
favorite Queensryche story is that the former lead singer of Queensryche is touring with a Queensryche cover band called Operation Mindcrime.
Jeff Tate. Yeah, this is supposed to be the final time he does the whole album. That's kind of his hook for this tour is he's going to perform Operation Mind. And I'm like, I don't care because I don't want to see Operation Mindcrime. I want to see I want to hear the Warning and Rage for Order. You know what I'm saying? I don't, you know. So, I mean, I thought the thing about Operation Mindcrime, it's good, but it's like a double album and every song almost sounds the same.
That's fair.
So I don't need 2 full albums where every song
right. That's totally fair.
That was my number 3. Number 4, Connie. Let's see if she goes off the reservation
again. Oklahoma.
So number 4, it has 2 really popular songs on it for everybody else to hear about it on the radio. But because of the movie, it is a soundtrack. I love every song. And I couldn't believe I knew all the words. And I know all the words. And I mean all the words to all the song. Like he's a dream. I started singing it and that's pure muscle memory.
I have to interject. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. Not only does she know all the words, she knows all the dance moves. She was putting on quite the show earlier.
Nice.
It's like knowing the Michael Jackson Thriller dance. Everybody knows. Everybody knows the dance for the flash dance when she's auditioning. Come on. Or when she's working out and little feet hit the floor, little leg warmers. And the famous scene where she takes her bra off under her shirt without removing the shirt and just like it's nothing. Come on.
I remember all those videos too. Not for the same reason you do, but I remember all of those videos.
I just remember dumping water on her head or something, whatever that is. Yeah.
And in the movie, onto the song "He's a Dream."
Okay. I've never seen that movie, but I certainly did hear the songs on the radio a lot and on MTV.
You probably saw that to Flashdance is Michael Cimbello. She's a Maniac.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's it. All right. We're rolling along here. That was Connie's number 4. Andy, number 4.
Number 4 for me is 1989's Pretty Hate Machine from 9 Inch Nails. This
I'm being slow. Wait. I'm being slow. Oh, no. Okay, here you go. Good.
When I heard this album, it was introduced to me by my friend Dana Estep because Trent Reznor's from Cleveland, Ohio, and he was touring just Ohio. It was just Trent Reznor and a couple of guys from his hometown, and they were calling themselves 9 Inch Nails. They hit Columbus. This was before Pretty Hate Machine was ever released. It was recorded, but it wasn't released yet. And we went to see it at a place called Connie. What was the name of that place you used to work at on campus?
Oh, the Newport Music Hall.
The Newport Music Hall, which was just a complete dive, right? It was a big hole. It was big, but it was a hole in the wall. It was disgusting, and they played just these up-and-coming bands and has-been bands and everything, and it blew my mind. This music was totally different. It still has an 80s flavor to it, but it was more electronic, more industrial, and it just blew my mind. And I listened to this album over and over again. I loved every single song on there. You'll probably know Head Like a Hole. And that's pretty much what they played off this album is Head Like a Hole. But there are songs, every song I know by heart, and I scream them and sing them out loud every time I hear it. Terrible Lie, Down in It, Sanctified, Something I Can Never Have, Kinda I Want to Sin, and then they also did a cover of Get Down, Make Love, Queen's Get Down, Make Love, and it was just awesome. I mean, the whole album is just really good. To this day, all the music holds up. I think it's 9 Inch Nails' best complete album. Their other albums have great stuff on it, but this is the one where their sound was still 80s and still radio ready before it got really weird. Because people know some of the later songs, but if you listen to those albums, they're really, really weird. There's a couple songs on there that could be played on the radio, but the rest of the songs are like, wow, where is that from? So this one was the best.
Yeah, I was going to say, the 9 Inch Nails, I remember this title, but I don't think I ever heard it. The 9 Inch Nails album I had on either cassette or CD, I can't remember now, was the one that had kind of like a yellowy brown cover, and I can't even think what the name of it was.
It had
Downward Spiral.
Downward Spiral was Closer. Closer was their probably their biggest song. Everybody knows Closer.
Yeah, that I had that. I used to listen to that a good bit.
Yeah, and that one song is a lot like all the songs on the first album. He's just filled with rage and hatred for the entire world, and he puts that into his songs.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
Isn't that special?
ain't that special?
Oh, all right, very good. So that was number 4 for you.
Mm-hmm.
And is it? Let's see. I've done.
You're next.
Okay, so my next one, I'm going to save the one that I think is kind of surprising for last. My number 4 is going to be another band I played the crap out of in the last 12 months after discovering them for the first time about this time last year.
Yeah,
they didn't exist until I found out about them. That is UFO. The great UFO with Michael Schenker from Scorpions as their lead guitarist. And they put out a string of albums between about 1972-ish and about 1982. And they just put out banger, 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 banger. And I mean, several of them could have been on here. And the most famous one, Lights Out, certainly could have. But this has been my favorite UFO album, the one I've played over and over the most. Every song on it is great. Force It by UFO. It's the first one they did that has a lot of keyboard mixed in, but they use it in kind of like a jazz in the background, kind of ding, 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 while they're still got the So, I mean, I've been blown away by this band. I've been absolutely astonished by how good they are, and I still can't figure out how I never heard them really before last year, except for that their heyday was right before MTV.
Mm-hmm.
When MTV came along is about the time they dropped off the cliff, and I think that's what happened.
And it's amazing how it's astounding that this band isn't more well known because, like you said, they have classic rock songs. I mean, they're classic heavy metal. And if you talk to, I've heard so many people, rock bands that came in the early to mid 80s that have cited UFO as one of their big influences. Like Def Leppard.
Joe Elliott always says, "Yep."
Obviously, the Scorpions. I mean, there's just
Scorpions traded Schinkner back and forth.
Right. So I mean, they were very influential. They put out very good stuff. And Iron Maiden is another one, right? And and Rush loved them. Rush loved them so much they had them open up for them for their tours.
That's how I found out about UFO. Was reading Geddy Lee's autobiography about a year ago, and he talked about did they open for Rush or did Rush open for them? Back then, I'm not sure.
Rush opened for them, and then years later they opened for Rush when Rush got big. So
that tracks. That absolutely tracks.
I mean, and it's a criminal that they are just not as well known and beloved as they ought to be.
Yeah, their singer is in the same league. I don't want to say Robert Plant, but the Bad Company singer that went on and did The Firm with Jimmy Page. He very much reminds me of him.
Yeah, and the guy from what's that other band?
Paul Rogers, what I was trying to think of just then. Yeah, he reminds me of Paul.
The other band that came out right around then, I forget. But it's a great band.
It is. All right, we're to Connie for number 5. Here we go.
So number 5 for me is they're not a known band around the world. They are a known band in my neck of the woods, Jamilton, Ohio. And this is an album that I could probably write my thesis on, my music thesis on. It is that good of an album. I was never a blues fan, but now I'm a fan and I study it. This album right here is made up of these two. That's Johnny on the left and Gina on the right, Gina McCann. I post videos of her on my YouTube channel of her singing all the time. She's itty bitty. I don't know where she gets all that sound from, but she doesn't need a microphone. Let me tell you, she has just the most deep, soulful, juicy voice you could ever imagine. There's rasp. There's Tina in there. There's Janis Joplin's all over the place in there. I hear I hear so many different influences on her songs. And then you have Johnny Fink, who is, his guitar almost, I think it speaks English. When he plays, it plays words. I have never heard that before. All I could say is get their album, download it off of Apple. This For Your Soul. Listen to it all the way through 3 times. You're not gonna be able to pick out your favorite song. As a matter, when they say, "Hey, which song do you want?" I'm like, I don't know the name of the song because it's a constant loop.
Yeah.
The titles. I have to think of the song. I'm like, the one that says this, and they play it. And it's also one of those albums, like if you break up with someone and you want to tell them, this is the one. This is the one. Those with heartbreaks, this is the one. I just appreciate the voice. The vocals are amazing. So
I'll say that Connie mentioned that they're not real well known around the world, and I'll say that in the blues circle they are very well known because
that is true.
They won. True. There's a blues festival down in where's it, Nashville every year, and they get blues bands from all over the world to compete in this. I mean, big name blues bands, and they came in second or third just a couple of years ago, or maybe even first. I forget, but they do very well in that competition every year. And second, Johnny Fink has got the greatest guitarist's name ever. I just love that name. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They're both great people because they are from Jamilton, Ohio. So we have gone to see a lot of their shows where we sit 3 feet away from them and then we talk to them after their shows and stuff like that. They're fantastic people.
Nice.
Yeah. Johnny always makes a comment about, he looks out and he sees me. I know every word to every song. And he makes a comment about it. Like every time he's like, it's surreal. I guess, to have someone out there, if you're not a worldwide household name, you know what I mean? To have someone know all the words to the songs, but I'm also a walking jukebox. I know the words to pretty much every song, everywhere of everything. So, I mean, if it's good music, it's good music, but their live performances, beyond entertaining. I mean, they don't just stand there and play. They have so much energy, I can't say enough about this band. I know they're local. They're on YouTube. They're not local if you watch them on YouTube, right?
Right.
You can support local music all over the place because that's where all bands get started. So, yep.
Well, there you go. You've promoted them to the public. Maybe they'll get a few more downloads and stuff. Awesome.
I hope so. Their music is incredible. I don't work for them. I don't collect money. I get nothing from them except I get to go and listen to incredible vocals.
Sure thing. Wow. All right. So Connie's 5 are in the warehouse. Andy, what's your 5th?
My 5th one, and Vane, you're probably going to laugh at me for this one, but it's the Beastie Boys, Check Your Head.
I was like, what? Where is that coming from? So explain, sir. Explain yourself.
I absolutely will. So the Beastie Boys, people know the Beastie Boys from their first album, Licensed Still, which was a fantastic album. It was, but if you listen to it now, it's very sophomoric. It's very early 80s rap music. It came out in 86, but it's very early 80s rap type of music. It's silly, it's goofy and all that stuff. But their second album went a little bit further into the artistry. The Beastie Boys were artists, musical artists before they got into rap. They were punk. They did rhythm and blues, stuff like that. So they have more music background than what you see in Licensed to Ill. By the time the third album came out in 1992 with Check Your Head, this was their Sgt. Pepper's. This was their experimental album. This was the album where they did all the crazy artistic stuff. And you really get to see the musical side of this band. There is no 2 songs on this album that are like, you can't you listen to this album, every single song is completely different from the song before it, and none of the songs on this album are like anything else they've ever done. My favorite song in the album is Something's Got to Give. If you just sit down and listen to it, this album sounds like a 80s rap album as done by the Beatles. I mean, it's that crazy. You know, every song is so funky, psychedelic, but it still has that 80s rap flavor to it, early 90s rap flavor to it. Something's Got to Give is something that could be on any Beatles album. I mean, it's just crazy, cool, and psychedelic and fun. So if you hate the Beastie Boys, listen to this album. You might have a different opinion of them. If you've never listened to a Beastie Boys album, listen to this one because it's unlike anything they've ever done. And if you love the Beastie Boys, listen to this one because this album will give you a whole new perspective on what the Beastie Boys are capable of.
Well, all right. My Beastie Boys story is I remember them opening for Madonna and having stuff thrown at them on stage and booed off the stage.
Right.
Fast forward to 1994 when I'm the editorial page editor at the Auburn Plainsman newspaper in Auburn, and I was older than a lot of the undergrads that were working on it, and they were all excited about this concert they were going to. I'm like, oh, who y'all going to go see? Beastie Boys. I thought they were joking. I thought they were trolling me. I'm like, no, really, who? And they're like, Beastie Boys. And I'm like, seriously, you're excited to go see them? Then they're like, oh yeah, the Beastie Boys are great. And I'm just like, okay.
Dude, License to Ill was the number one album of 1986. The Beastie Boys were huge for a minute, but this one, listen to this one, Van. Trust me, just listen to it. It's different. It's still rap. It's still the Beastie Boys, but you'll get a whole new appreciation for their artistry.
I'm gonna do it. All right. The last album is one. This is probably the album I originally thought of when I thought of albums that I was just shocked that you can play all the way through. This may have been the first album I ever listened to that I felt that way. Back in the mid 80s in high school, it has a couple of big radio hits, but honest to goodness, every other song on it is as good as anything that was ever on the radio. And that is Play Deep by the Outfield.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
61 Seconds is as good as Your Love.
I love his voice.
Every Time You Cry is better than Your Love. Right? What is it? The Something Man. Every freaking song on this album is spectacular. And it's also an example of, honestly, they do all kind of sound similar, and yet they sound so different from everybody else that it's okay. You know what I mean? It's like they had such a unique sound when this album came out that I was glad every song on the album sounds the same, because you get like a 50-minute song basically with higher tempo and lower tempo and more of a ballad and more of a rocker or whatever, but they're all incredibly great. Connie, you're agreeing with me.
His voice reminds me a lot of Mickey Thomas. The high register that they can get, like Jane, when Mickey sings Jane, how high up he is. There's a lot of similarities in their tone.
Well, and he's
on a vacation, how high up he says that. I can hear Mickey Thomas also singing that song as well.
Yeah. Connie, you've seen Outfield live before, haven't you?
No, I was obsessed with them in the 80s, though. I did not get to see them. Now, Jefferson Starship I've seen both sets of.
Right, but not the Outfield.
No.
Okay.
They were British, but yet they were they were called the Baseball Boys, and then changed their name to the Outfield, which neither has anything to do with Britain. It was odd how they did that. Yeah, but there they are. So
you know who they remind me of, Andy? We were just talking about is the Cutting Crew.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
I remember them. They had like that one song though, was the difference.
Mockingbird.
No, that wasn't it.
That was the one for me. Oh, they had
if it wasn't MTV, I didn't really know it probably. But Yeah,
I just died in your arms tonight.
Yes, I
I just died in
died.
your arms tonight.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
I did meet them. I did meet cutting crew.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, all right. That does it. So our last quick thing here. Any final thoughts about? I think we've covered the ones we left off. So yeah, I feel like we've kind of covered everything. What am I forgetting, guys? If anything, are we good?
I think while listening to this podcast, I came up with like 5 more albums I could have put on my list.
Yeah, I think we all did. That's funny.
I mean, I'm forgetting. What about Tom Petty? I forgot Tom Petty.
Well, but I guess Full Moon Fever could have been on there because all those songs are great. But yeah, I mean the Metallica, Eagles, any Eagles, the Metallica, the Black Album could have been on here. I mean, there's a lot.
The album I originally had #1, even ahead of Outfield. But I said, well, it's not only is it kind of a live album, it's kind of a live greatest hits album. So I don't really want to include that. But that's UB40 CCCP Live in Moscow. If you like reggae and if you like UB40, that Live in Moscow album is there's not a song to skip. It is just killer from start to finish. It's so good.
If I had known we could have done soundtrack albums, I would have put the Top Gun soundtrack on here for sure.
Dude, do you know who got offered to be on that soundtrack with the final credit song and said, no, we don't want to be on there?
No.
Judas Priest.
What?
Judas Priest had a song on Turbo called, I think, Renegade.
Yeah.
And the movie people came to Judas Priest and said, we want Renegade to be the song that plays at the end of the movie. And they thought about it, and they were about to put Turbo out. And they said, well, that'll take one of our songs we really like off the album, because they couldn't use it on both. Right. And they said, we want it to be on Turbo. And Turbo was a flop, and they could have been on the soundtrack to Top Gun. Rob Halford still is like, I could have had another house, you know?
Oh, easily.
I could have had a yacht. Yeah.
I think one of the top selling soundtrack albums of all time. I mean, it's just a fantastic album. It's got so many great songs on it.
Yeah, they're still kicking themselves. They made a lot of bad decisions in the mid-'80s. All right, so next time, allegedly, we're going to spotlight a band, but the 3 of us are going to have to put our heads together and come up with what band we want to spotlight. If we do that, maybe we won't do that. Maybe we'll continue our top 5, this or that or the other. So we'll see.
I like the spotlight. The spotlight would be a nice change of pace, I think.
Yeah, just pick one band and kind of dive deep on them, give some back. Like our buddies over at the Surely You Can't Be Serious podcast like to do a lot of deep diving on things, and so it might be fun to do like that. So, all right, well, I got to go watch Survivor. I mean, not Survivor, my gosh.
Traitors.
I got to go watch The Traitor. Oh, Lassie, you're the traitor. So I will see you guys. It has been a blast as always. Connie, Andy, we'll see you guys down the road next time we do this.
All right, take care, man.
Bye, guys.